Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of Melli Talk. I'm your host, Art Teferi. Really glad that you could join us. For today's episode, first I am joined by my new co-host and newest member of the Melli Talk crew, Dara Zarandi. Dara, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Art. Excited to be with you today and excited to be a part of Team Ellie Talk now.
Awesome. Sounds like a plan. So let's get this started. And our guest today is a world-renowned football trainer and also hosts his own show on YouTube. Let's welcome Mo Ali Heydarpour joining us from Toronto, Canada. Mo, thank you for joining us on Team Melli Talk. It's really great to have you on the show, man.
For sure. Thanks for having me. Good to see you guys, and hope the fans enjoyed this episode and they get some insight.
All right, Dara, and since you are the newest member of our Team Melli Talk crew, how about you get things started today with Mo Ali Heydarpour?
Awesome. Mo, again, we're really excited to have you. I really do enjoy a lot of the insight I get from both, your Instagram as somebody who is a soccer fanatic, and then also from the shows, just like following a lot of different leagues around the world. I think the conversations you have with a lot of the players is really interesting. But before we kind of dive into that, I definitely want to understand a little bit from you. Tell me a little bit more about your background as a soccer player, and tell us a little bit more about also how that segued into a career as a trainer.
Yeah, for sure. So I started off when I was 6. I moved to Canada. And then when I got to Canada, my grandpa was a football player, actually. He played in Esteghlal in Iran back in the day.
So you're an Esteghlali.
I guess so. I don't have a favorite, but I'll go with that one.
Okay.
But he played there, so I just liked soccer since I was young. And then when I came to Canada, I joined the city team here, and in a small city called Guelph. And our coach, he played in the World Cup for Canada, so he was a good coach, and he taught me a lot of stuff. And then around 14, 15, I joined the Canadian Soccer League. It was the pro league at the time in Canada. And few seasons there, and I played good. And one agent, he sent me to Slovakia. And I went there 2 weeks tryout, and luckily I did good. I scored in the first game there and everything, so I joined that. It was called FC Vion, the team. So I played in the Premier League for a bit in Slovakia. And then I had a few injuries, came back to recover. And then that's when we started to shoot the videos with different players, like while I was recovering. And it started picking up, it grew bigger and bigger. And after a while, I was enjoying it more, Playing was nice. My whole dream was to play forever.
Yeah.
But I think once I realized this and I was having more fun, I decided to stop playing and just continue with this, travel and work with different players, doing like fun technical sessions.
And then also tell me a little bit more about like the really kind of like what inspired you to do the training. Like at what point were you like, this is just like something that I want to do, and that like you really dedicated yourself, and kind of like, how did you get started with that? Like, how did you meet different players and whatnot?
Yeah, in the beginning, it's tough, It's just who you know. Like, I came back to Boston because my parents moved to Boston while I was playing. So when I was there was an MLS team, the New England Revolution. And the first player we did a video with was Kai Kamara. He's an MLS player. I think now he's in Colorado. But he was one of the first, and each player gets us a few other players, and also like messaging players on social media.
Right.
I think that's one of the best ways. It's something new, we didn't have that back in the day when we were growing up. So I think kids now, they have access to a lot of resources and people just through social media, which is a lot more helpful,
And Mo, we also know that you created an app called the Mo Ali FC app. And tell us a bit more about it, and how did this idea come to you?
Yeah, for sure. We just launched last week. So we just thought, hey, everyone's at home. How can we train all these kids who want training from their house? And I think this was the most quickest and efficient way to get kids content and ways to train at home, with the least amount of equipment. So they can just use a ball and some cones, dribble at home, do some work, and stay fit. So they're not always playing video games or watching TV.
Yeah, that probably makes a lot of parents happy. That's awesome. So then among the three different things that you're working on, your YouTube show, your app, and your training sessions that you hold, where does your biggest passion lie? And also, where do you see yourself dedicating like more of your time coming up in like the next like year or two?
Yeah. So the main focus is the content, working with different players in the sessions. I think that sort of controls everything. But right now, obviously, we can't travel. So we're working different ways, shooting content at home with different players. Sometimes they send clips, we send clips, we put it together and things like that. But the majority of time is spent with the sessions, and I enjoy being on the pitch. So that's my favorite part, because I always want to be involved with soccer, on the pitch and shooting and doing stuff myself also.
And Mo, we know you have spent some time working with different clubs in Asia. So as a trainer, what do you think are the biggest differences between football in Asia and football in Europe?
Yeah, I think Europe is much more tactical, but I think Asia in the last few years, it's growing a lot, especially like China, Qatar, those countries. But I think Europe is just another level because there's so much history and the players have access to the best facilities, coaches, technology. So I think that one of the biggest things is tactics. And yeah, I would say that's the main thing for me.
Makes sense. And of all the different clubs that you've trained with, which we know there from a lot of us who follow you on Instagram, there's tons that you've trained with. But among all of them, which club were you most impressed with and why? And this can be for any particular reason. Let's just say talent or facilities. Like which club did you go to and were just kind of really blown away?
Yeah, I think Manchester City. They had one of the nicest facilities. So they have like 50 pitches, I think, all nice grass and the best indoor place. Like they had everything, But a club I enjoyed a lot was in the Turkish Super League. It was Istanbul Başakşehir. They have a lot of new equipment, technology, and everything's in this complex. So you have access to everything, And just being in their stadium and shooting there was also fun. It's a nice atmosphere.
And wanted to also ask, do you have any coaching licenses or certifications? And if not, do you have any aspirations to get into the coaching realm? Because I know obviously you're a master of the training portion of working with clubs, but any kind of like aspirations to be in the coaching realm?
Yeah, for sure. Right now, I don't have any coaching license, Right when I finished playing, I just got into this and it just grew so quick that I haven't had time to get into that yet. But definitely, like, if I want to coach, I think I'm going to get my licenses, But it's crazy. There's 2-3 teams who've offered me assistant coaching jobs in the professional level, which is in negotiation still. So I can't say, but it's something cool, with no license, I'm still getting these opportunities. So I think a lot of it is experience, a lot of players when they finish, they've been through so much that they can coach, but obviously you need to keep learning. And I think if I want to be a coach, I want to get experience from different coaches and be around them for a few months and just understand how they work from a few different coaches and just build my own thing from there.
Really exciting hearing about this, Mo. Like you said, the opportunities you have. And yeah, I understand when you said that there's things you can't share yet because they're negotiations. So obviously don't have any questions involving that. But, lately I've spent a decent amount of time on your Instagram page, really like looking at the videos you have. And of course, one that obviously stood out, you can't be surprised when you see the backdrop here, is that, your video with Mehdi Taremi of Team Melli, the national team of Iran. But in your opinion, how do you think Mehdi Taremi compares to other top-class world footballers that you have trained or worked with?
Yeah, I think Mehdi is a top player, I think that's why he's one of the most successful Iranian players. And he's been doing good in Portugal, He's a big hold-up striker. He can do a lot, And working with him was cool because you see, okay, a kid from Iran can become at this level and make it, So it was cool to work with an Iranian player also. And I think he's going to go higher, He's performing well. So I hope he gets more opportunities to go to even higher teams.
And that's definitely something we all want to see. Mehdi Taremi just continues to improve. And, while we're on this topic of TMLE players, who are some of your favorite TMLE players? And, what are some of your favorite TMLE moments?
Yeah, for sure. My favorite players, I'm mostly in touch with more foreign players who are in different countries, like Ali Reza Janbakhsh in England and Osmoon. So those three, I would say, are the top ones. But I mean, watching them in the World Cup was amazing, seeing when they almost tied Argentina or something, and like games like that where it's close. And you see it's really close, football, anything can happen. So I hope there's more development in the Iran national team and we get some better facilities and equipment and everything so we can keep improving.
And on that note, though, do you have – so we do know that you're in touch with some of the Team Melli players that are in Europe. So are there any training sessions you have coming up right now that have any Team Melli players included in them?
We will once we can travel again, But hopefully with John Bach, we'll do one. And another player in Belgium.
Is that Tolahi or Golizadeh?
Yeah, Zahotali.
Got it.
Yeah, so those two guys for sure.
And Mo, as a trainer, in what way would you like to see the Iranian national team players improve most? I'm talking in terms of skill and technique.
Yeah, I think the Iranian players are already pretty technical, Like I've experienced even training 1 month in one of the Iran Premier Leagues, Padide. It was in Mashhad. So these players are very technical, They all grew up playing street football. And I think compared to a lot of players worldwide, they could be even more technical. I just think it comes down to decision making and having the good coaches to teach them things like video reviews and different small things that can help them become better. So if they can fix the small mistakes, like for instance, La Liga teams, they keep possession so well, But our Persian players, they have just as much technical ability, but just decision making maybe is not there, and they can work on that in the tactics.
Definitely, I couldn't agree more. I feel like that's a very common piece of feedback. A lot of the foreign coaches who kind of like you, who work with a lot of like top class European players, well, first thing they always say when they come to Iran is that the players in Iran are very technically gifted and are oftentimes very impressed with like the level of their technical abilities. But unfortunately, from like a tactical standpoint, it might be a little bit off. So that's definitely something that we've heard before from a lot of the different foreign coaches. That's cool. It's cool to hear you say that and experience it firsthand.
Mo, I just want to tell you, I really appreciate you taking the time to join us on Team Melli Talk. It was really great to hear about your career and how you're continuing to help people with the sport of football all over the world. You're basically living the dream. This must be a lot of fun. And if our viewers and followers want to follow you on Instagram, what is the handle? Where can they find you?
So the handle's just Mo Ali FC on all social platforms, the same. So if you want to find me, you can find me there. And hopefully one day with all the fans, we'll do a nice game or training.
Sounds like a plan. And Mo, once again, thank you for taking the time. It was a pleasure to have you on the show.
For sure. Thanks for having me. Hope you guys stay safe. All the best, and hope the fans enjoyed.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us for another edition of Team Melli Talk. And Dara, once again, great to have you now as the newest member of Team Melli Talk, and glad to have you as my co-host as well.
Thanks, Art. Yeah, this was awesome. A lot of fun. And thanks again to Mo for taking the time.
For sure. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone. You know what to do. Go to teammellytalk.com. You know where to find us on social media. The handle @teammellytalk. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit that notification button. We'll see you on the next edition of Team Melli Talk.